So now we've covered the when and the where. So now we're on to the hows. Yes, remind students early and often about the value of this time. Yes, present getting help as an essential part of the learning process. And remember that it is just a big ask to expect students to show up. They have to take the initiative and they feel like they have to carry the agenda. And that is a lot. I remember when I was an undergrad, I never went to office hours and I was terrified, and I was what was considered a successful student. One way that we can lessen this burden is to provide more transparency and more structure. For example, at the beginning of the quarter, you could invite students to come just for quick meet and greets for a couple of minutes. This can break the ice, and this kind of relationship building can really encourage students to come back later in the quarter when they need your support. You could also make at least one visit a requirement, and this supports that 4 connections model, which builds relationships with students, but also promotes their academic success. 2 of the tenets of this model, 2 of the connections, are to use students' first names and to schedule one-on-one meetings with them. So you're taking care of 2 of those with these meetings. And you could also encourage students to come in pairs, in groups. This works really well for review sessions and project planning. And I always found that students found this a much less intimidating way to come to office hours, and they were more emboldened to ask questions and to also let me know what they were confused by in the course. I wanted to share with you also an idea from this book that I'm reading, Inclusive Teaching Practices, or Inclusive Teaching Strategies for Promoting Equity in the College Classroom. It's by 2 UNC professors, bio professor Kelly Hogan and psych professor Vijay Sathi. And one of their big ideas is just that we provide more support for students through structure. So Vijay Sathi created this office hour graphic for students to kind of show them to demystify, to structure, and be transparent about what they are and what they're for. So let me share this graphic with you here. So you can see that she varies things throughout the term in terms of the structure of the meetings, the location, and also the purpose. So she starts out the quarter with these short meet and greets, and these happen at student-centered areas on campus. Then throughout the quarter, she meets students in her office for help with course content, talking about school life, future plans. And then there's also these collaborative meetings with treats. They're very social, that are more for like project planning and things like that. And these tend to be in, again, more student-centered places that accommodate larger groups. So this is just one example of how we can sort of try to remove some of those barriers to students' participation. And finally, we try all this and it still doesn't work. I did see a really nice suggestion from one instructor who said that if no students shows up for her office hours, she uses that time as what she terms a gift of engagement. And so she's just really intentional with that time to try to connect with students. And that might include many different things, like she might email a student to acknowledge a really thoughtful comment they made in class or in an assignment. She might reach out to students who seem like they need some support. She might review her Canvas analytics to see some patterns in student behavior and make a plan of action based on that. Whatever it is, just using that time in a very intentional way to support student success and to build relationships with them. So that's all I have. I hope that there's at least one kernel in here that might be something that you want to try. If you do try something and it works, please let me know. And if there's something else that you use that works for you, I would also love to hear about it. And I'm sure other people would too. I wish you the best of luck in your office student drop-in tea and crumpet time.